You check the balance. Again. You've been checking it for months, maybe years, and the number moves. It does move, but not the way you expected it to, not the way everyone said it would. You save, you sacrifice, you skip the trips and the dinners and the upgrades, and the account climbs slowly, painfully, like something pulling itself up a wall with its fingernails. This is the part nobody warned you about. The first $100,000 is not just hard to save. It is categorically different from every dollar that comes after it. And the reason why, the actual reason, buried under all the generic advice about budgets and lattes, has everything to do with how compounding works, and exactly when it doesn't. Most people think compound interest is a machine that runs the moment you turn it on. Put money in, watch it grow. That's what the charts show. That's what the calculators promise. But what those charts don't show you is the feeling of living through the early years, the years where math is technically working, but you can barely feel it, where the gap between what you're putting in and what the market is returning is so enormous that it feels like the whole thing is a lie. It isn't a lie, but it is a phase. And understanding that phase, why it exists, why it feels this way, and exactly when it ends, is the difference between the people who build real wealth and the people who quit right before the machine turns on. Here's the part that changes everything. When you have $0 invested, a 10% annual return gives you exactly $0. When you have $1,000 invested, a 10% return gives you $100. $100. That's not going to change your life. That's not going to feel like anything. And this is the psychological trap that swallows millions of people whole, because they're doing everything right and feeling nothing back. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner for decades, said something that most people hear as a motivational quote without understanding what it actually means. He said the first 100,000 is a bitch. Those were his exact words. And Munger wasn't being dramatic. He was describing a mathematical reality. He was describing the phase of wealth building where your behavior, your consistency, your sacrifice, your refusal to quit, is contributing almost everything. And the math is contributing almost nothing. This is what behavioral economists call the reinforcement gap. You are doing the work. You are not getting the reward. And the human brain, which runs on feedback loops, which was built to connect effort to outcome in real time, starts to quietly panic. The research of Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize-winning psychologist who spent his career studying how humans make financial decisions, found something uncomfortable about the relationship between behavior and perceived progress. People do not evaluate outcomes in absolute terms. They evaluate them relative to expectation. And when the expectation is, compound interest grows your money, but the reality is that your account grew by $400 last year on $20,000 invested, the brain registers that as failure, even when it isn't. This is why people stop. Not because the strategy is broken, because the feeling is broken. So let's talk about what's actually happening inside the math, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and it changes the way you think about every dollar you're saving right now. Imagine you invest $500 a month starting at 25, with an average annual return of 7%. In your first year, you've put in $6,000. The market has added roughly $200 on top of that. $200. You could feel offended by that. Many people do. By year 5, you have around $36,000 invested from your own contributions. The market has added about $5,000 total. Still feels small. Still feels like the machine isn't working. But watch what happens next. By year 10, you've contributed $60,000 of your own money. And now the market has added over $27,000 on top of that. The math is starting to lean. The balance between what you put in and what the money earns on its own is shifting. And by year 15, you cross $100,000 in total value, and something changes structurally. At $100,000, a 7% annual return generates $7,000 on its own, without you doing anything, in a single year. That is more than the average American saves in a year. Let that land for a moment. The money is now saving more than you are. And every year from that point forward, the gap between your contributions and the market's contributions widens, not by a little, but exponentially. By year 20, the market is generating more than 3 times what you're personally depositing. By year 30, it's not even close. The machine has taken over. But here's the part that makes the first 100,000 feel so cruel. The gap you feel in the early years isn't just emotional, it's mathematical. The percentage of your total growth that comes from market returns is genuinely tiny in the beginning. Researcher and financial author J.L. Collins, who spent decades writing about index fund investing and the psychology of wealth building, described the first 100,000 as the period where you are essentially a manual laborer. You are the engine, and you don't get to stop being the engine until you've accumulated enough capital for the compounding to take over. The transition isn't gradual, it's a threshold, and the threshold is real. Think about it this way. If you have $10,000 invested and the market drops 10%, you've lost $1,000. That hurts. But it's recoverable in a few months of contributions. If you have $500,000 invested and the market drops 10%, you've lost $50,000. Now the math works both ways, dramatically. The same mechanism that eventually builds your wealth can, in the short term, remove in one bad month what took you a year to save. This is why so many people panic and sell right before the machine reaches full power. They've made it through the quiet phase. They've done the hard part. And then they hit a market correction, watch $50,000 disappear from their statement, and decide the whole thing is too dangerous. They exit. And they never know what the next 10 years would have given them. The psychological research on this is clear. A 2020 study from Vanguard's behavioral finance team found that investors who made no changes to their portfolios during market downturns consistently outperformed investors who tried to time the market, not by a little, but by an average of 3% annually over 10-year periods. 3% sounds small. On a portfolio of $500,000, 3% is $15,000 per year. The cost of panic is not abstract. It has a price tag. So what do you actually do with this? First, you stop measuring your progress in dollar returns and start measuring it in something more useful, the ratio. Every year, calculate how much the market contributed versus how much you contributed. In year 1, the market might contribute 5% of your total gains. In year 5, maybe 15%. In year 10, maybe 40%. Watch that ratio shift, because that shift, not the absolute number, is the real signal that the machine is warming up. Second, you protect the quiet phase from yourself. This is the most underestimated piece of financial advice that exists. The single most dangerous thing about the early years is not the math, it's your own psychology. The urge to spend the savings when life gets hard. The temptation to pull out when the market falls. The quiet voice that says, "This isn't working." That voice is not giving you information. It is giving you noise. And every time you listen to it, you reset the clock. Third, you get honest about the timeline. The wealth machine does not turn on in year 1. It does not turn on in year 3. For most people, it turns on somewhere between year 12 and year 18. That is a long time to keep going without a dramatic payoff, but it is not a long time in the context of a life. It is a choice you make in your 30s that reshapes everything about your 50s. Warren Buffett, whose net worth is studied and cited as the ultimate proof of compounding's power, made 97% of his wealth after the age of 65. Not because he started late, he started at 11, but because the compounding machine requires time to hit full speed, and most people aren't willing to ride out the years before it does. The first 100,000 is hard because your brain needs feedback, and compounding doesn't give it on your brain's timeline. It gives it on its own timeline. And the people who understand that, who can hold the discomfort of the quiet phase without interpreting it as failure, are the ones who get to experience what compounding actually feels like when it arrives. Because when it arrives, it doesn't feel gradual. It feels like the rules changed. One year, you're watching the number grow by $8,000. The next year, it grows by 20. The year after that, 35. And you start to understand, finally, what everyone was trying to tell you. Not because someone explained it better, because you lived through the part they didn't warn you about. You checked the balance again, same as yesterday. But this time you know what that means. It means you're still inside the machine, and the machine is still warming up. Keep going.